Let's take another look at the markets with Michael Hainsworth. And Michael, what are you watching?
We are watching a positive advance decline line, Catherine, for the S&P 500 and a new intraday all-time high. Let's start with that broader basket of 500 stocks. 1993 is where we're at, just a little bit off our best of the session with 243 million shares crossing the tape. We're up by about 7 points or so, and the strength we're seeing today comes from three key stocks: Johnson & Johnson, Hewlett-Packard, and eBay. Interestingly enough, J&J's up by about 1%. Hewlett-Packard's being rewarded for its better-than-expected quarterly results. We've been convinced that the tablet market's been eating the lunch of the laptop world, and we found out last night that's not completely the case. $2.14 higher for HP. eBay, though, is up 4.7% off its best level of the trading session, but still trading strong. The expectation is that eBay could spin off its PayPal division sooner rather than later. And while the rumors started to circulate towards the end of the day, it seemed to this point here at which we really started to see some traction. Up by $2.54. That brings us to just shy of $56 per share. But the sentiment on the street is that there's still more upside to go. While the stock trades up by about 6% on a one-year view, the expectation is that it could revisit the March highs and breach them at the $60 mark, which suggests about 7% more upside from where we are today. The sentiment as well is broadly positive. It's a bullish mentality here with the RSI at 73. NASDAQ's up by 5 points, almost 6 at 4,532. 17,064 for the Dow, a gain of about 0.5% overall. For the Bay Street trade, after that new all-time high yesterday, we're seeing today a bit of a pullback, 12 points lower now at 15,550, fractionally, virtually negligible. 30% more volume today than we get in a regular trading session as well. As investors put some pressure on the materials and the energy group, we're also seeing the sector that played a big role in the movement yesterday, upside to the new all-time high, is lower as well. Industrials down by about 0.25% overall. But the materials group's the most influential. It's down by about 2%. It's Goldcorp primarily, offsetting other gains we're seeing elsewhere. Barrick, Agnico, Silver, Wheaton, they're lower as well. And there's First Quantum in the base metals space, 60 cents later at $24.42 per share. That's the latest from the Business News Network. I'm Michael Hainsworth.
Taking a look at currencies and commodities, the U.S. dollar is trading lower against most of its major peers, including its Canadian counterpart. Traders are waiting on Federal Reserve Chair Janet Yellen's comments tomorrow at the Jackson Hole meeting for cues on the strength of the U.S. economy. Meanwhile, the British pound is trading lower against the U.S. dollar. The pound is giving back yesterday's gains, which were driven by mixed sentiment from the Bank of England. Minutes showed that two policymakers pushed for an interest rate hike this month, the first mixed vote under BOE Governor Mark Carney. And looking at commodities as well, crude oil is trading higher for the second straight session. Economic growth in the U.S. is pointing to stronger oil demand for the world's largest consumer of crude, which is pushing oil higher. And gold is falling to a 2-month low as the prospect of higher interest rates in the United States is curbing demand for gold as a hedge against the U.S. dollar.